Hello there. Hello, everybody, and welcome to All Nicked Up for your Wednesday, February 8th. Sorry about the delayed start. That's my fault. But if you were planning on seeing us at 9, you are correct. I was incorrect. But a little bit of technical difficulties for myself. I'll just put it that way. A little bit of personal technical difficulties, but I'm here. So this week we're doing a little bit. We kind of have a theme show. Normally, we just do a state of the Knicks or a post game, because if the game is playing, we normally do a post game. But no. Today we are here to discuss the NBA trade deadline, which is tomorrow. Sorry, at I think 3 p.m. If I'm correct. So let me bring the guys in. Let's get Ty in here. Let's get Craig in here.
Yo.
Gentlemen.
Hello.
So I was telling everybody that I had technical difficulties, so that's why we're a little bit late today. So I apologize for that. But we are here. We are ready to talk about the trade deadline and, of course, about where the Knicks are at the moment. Been playing. I have to say they've been playing pretty well. Kind of similar to what we've seen all season, but I feel like they've beaten some teams I'm a little surprised that they beat recently. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But still need improvement, of course, because they're not a contender. So let's not even try and go there. So we still need to improve. But of course, the main topic for today is going to be the trade deadline, which is tomorrow. This is always a fun time of year. It's one of my favorite times of the season because all possibilities come out, like whether they're real, whether they're fake, whether they're whatever. All these possibilities come out this time of year. Players that we should target, players that the Knicks are rumored to get, and then eventually we know that it'll never happen because that seems to be what happens with this team. All right, so well, Craig, you're the guy among the three of us who loves trades, whether they're warranted or not. You're the dude who loves to talk about trades. So, what are your expectations for this trade deadline?
I mean, my expectations are that I think that they need to make a trade because they do this every single year since essentially Leon Rose took over. And I want to preface this by alluding to something that Stephen Bondi has reported. The Knicks will not be adamant on making a move by the deadline unless President Leon Rose is quote unquote blown away. Tom Thibodeau endorsed a quiet trade deadline and says, "We love our team." That only but confirms everything that I've been saying to you guys on here and privately. The Knicks fall in love with their team, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Completely okay with that. But when you know you need a shot in the arm, i.e., we can use 2020 as that example. You went out, got D Rose, got that shot in the arm. Unfortunately, it didn't work out during the first round, but you still needed that shot in the arm because I don't want them resting on their laurels at 30 and 26. They are right now, 30 and 26. That we've seen them lose 5 straight, 4 straight, right? So just like that, you can be at 500. So why would you not at least try to find something that can give your team a boost? I don't care if it's a Hart, a Beasley. Well, that's not happening now because someone helps LeBron yet again with that 3-team trade tonight. So there's not a lot out there. So I understand you love your team, but why do the Knicks keep doing this? I'm not saying you have to make a bad trade. And I understand it takes 2 to tango. You have to find a willing trade partner and not get, hosed, excuse me. But come on, man. You can't keep doing this. I respect the conservatism that they seem to have. But every once in a while, even the marriage needs. I want to
trade a swap. Wait,
no.
Menage or something.
Every once in a while, a marriage needs some excitement added to it. A little foreplay, a little role playing, right? That's
50
the
Shades of Craig in here? I don't know what's going on.
not in this house, right? But every once in a while you need it. And the Knicks keep resting on their laurels, and that's the frustrating part. For me, anyway.
I mean, yeah, I'm always the guy who's kind of like, don't make a trade just to make a trade. That's not how you improve.
Mhm.
And sometimes I feel like they do that when they're trying to appease their fan base because the fans want to trade. So if you make a move based off what your fans want, I always say that's a terrible, terrible way to run a basketball team or any sports franchise, whether it's
Mhm.
basketball, football, whatever the case may be. It's not a good way to do things. But Craig did mention there was a trade. There has been a trade already. This is definitely final now?
Yeah, it's final.
Final, right? Okay. So it's the Lakers are acquiring D'Angelo Russell,
Malik Beasley,
and Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
In a trade including Mike Conley and picks of Minnesota and Russell Westbrook and lightly protected 2027 LA first round pick to the Jazz.
1 through
Also,
4 protected.
huh?
1 through 4 protected.
Yeah, 1 through 4 protected on that one. Juan Toscano Anderson and Damian Jones also going to the Jazz, and Nikhil Alexander Walker to the Timberwolves as well as part of a deal. Minnesota gets the 2024 lesser of Washington Memphis second round pick and 2025 and 2026 second round picks via Utah. Those are the players in this deal, and wow. So the Lakers like overhauled their team in one day. That's kind of crazy when you think about it.
I mean, in my opinion, it got better. In my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they added things that team needed, obviously. Getting rid, we also heard running up to today, or it might have been even after the game last night, which we'll talk about as well, where LeBron set the scoring record, but Westbrook and Darvin Ham had some kind of argument. So I wonder if this deal finally to get him out of there was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, and they're like, all right, we know they've been trying to get rid of him, but this might have been the one that got them there. It's kind of crazy that this trade happened. I don't personally, we could talk about this one really quick. I don't know if I think the Lakers did get better, but I don't know if it moves the needle to them being, a contender. Ty, what do you think?
I don't think it moves them enough. Their issue still lies shooting, defense. I mean, Vanderbilt gives them a little bit defensively, but that team goes as AD goes, and his health is always going to be the greater issue. No matter how great LeBron cosmetically looks on the Lakers, we can get in all the fanfare of his his accomplishments and give him all the adulation you want, but it still comes down to the fact that he is playing with a great statistical output, but his impact on the game is not the same as far as impacting winning. In a game like I didn't watch the game clearly last night, but I mean, they still lost to the Thunder at home after he set the record. That to me is extremely telling. LeBron has always needed. He's lost a step. Whether they want to tell it or not. We live in a game era where the game is inflated offensively. The numbers are staggering but inflated. So when you get into that, it's going to look great no matter who's playing. But the question is, can you play at an elite level to be a champion? And I don't think they have enough of a bench. They don't really have a third guy. Beasley's not going to be the third guy. D'Angelo Russell, he's probably was better when he was getting caught at the airport. He just doesn't move the needle to me as far as what they need. He's not a great outside shooter. It's another guy who needs the ball a lot. LeBron needs the ball a lot. Dennis Schroeder needs the ball a lot. AD needs the ball a lot. It doesn't give great balance to the Lakers, in my opinion. So I think to piggyback a little bit on Craig, it's really the league helping LeBron look better, which I don't like. Why would you trade that? I mean, I get it. Utah will probably cash in on those picks because they're going to be high quality picks. Because the Lakers are in a downward spiral, whether they want to say it or not. I don't think this pushes them. They might get into the play-in with these additions, but nothing great. I mean, although I think that the Western Conference is a little bit shaky as far as I don't know who the best team is other than maybe saying Denver. Denver, Golden State would have been, but the injuries are a little questionable. Portland. There's a lot of question marks in the West. There's
Yeah,
a lot of question marks. So a team like the Lakers, although I don't think they're better, they could get in and maybe get to the Western Conference Finals because the West is not great. But it wouldn't be because the Lakers are great. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I don't. It's just a very weird dynamic playing out there with the injuries, and there's no dominant team other than Denver. Like if they could get past Denver in a round, and they might be able to get into the finals or get near the finals. I mean, Dallas with Kyrie obviously makes it could be a tougher, but they're going to lack defense. There's a lot of imbalance in the Western Conference. I can't say that the Lakers are going to be great because of the trades, but I can't say that they're going to be worse than any other team because of injuries now. So.
Well, Utah, after this deal, has acquired 15 unprotected or lightly protected first-round picks through 2029. And they have a core, obviously, of Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton, Agbaji is the other guy, and then apparently it's about $60 million in potential cap space. So Danny Ainge has done what he set out to do.
Yep.
And it's kind of crazy. I'm glad we didn't help him looking at it.
Yeah.
Thinking about it now, I'm glad. I mean, you could say what you want about Donovan Mitchell, whether you wanted him or not. Looking back, I mean, I still wouldn't have done the deal. I still think it was a lot to ask for him, but
absolutely,
Utah has been able to remake their team based off of that trade, and then now this one, of course, with Mike Conley involved, outgoing in this one. So kind of crazy. You did also bring up the other trade.
To Minnesota? I'm sorry, who's going to Minnesota?
Hold on, let me go back and look at
Conley.
Yeah.
Some picks, second round picks.
Yep.
Which I don't understand how Utah can never mind. I'm not even gonna do it.
I just don't know how. I mean, Mike Conley was great when he first came into the league.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's a quality point guard. I don't know with Minnesota knowing in the position they are in to, basically make Utah a juggernaut at this point because Karl-Anthony Towns is out. Ant-Man is playing, to his level or whatever at this point, but not, I don't think he's going to help them win big. To add Conley, and I don't know if that makes you better. And that's, if anything, he's going to make their picks better for Utah. I don't think he moves the needle enough that they needed in order to make sure that they're not giving away quality. Like it's not a win for them because the last thing you want to do is give Utah really great picks. Like you got Gobert to have great, so you were nowhere near the lottery, or you were excelling to the point where you're one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league. And I don't think this keeps them afloat. I think that makes them almost like us, 7 and 8.
They want part of the way they look at it too is they're bringing Conley in, and Gobert has kind of been so far hasn't been what they thought it would be. So maybe bringing in Conley as his former point guard maybe unlock something a little bit there. I don't know. I tend to agree that I don't understand it from their point of view. But
this gives general managers fired. Like you have no picks. You got second round picks in this deal. And I can't make Towns happy because I know they weren't playing well, but that was his boy. So it's just like, what's the end game? Again, like always gonna be my question with things. What is the end game? What was the purpose of doing this? You helped every other Western Conference team in theory get better, but yourself.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling. Like I read and I'm like, who's their GM? Something Connolly or something like that. I can't think of his name. He needs to be. I'll use the R word, but he ain't that smart.
But in Minnesota, they're was that Alex Rodriguez? His group bought that.
Yeah,
team.
He's one of the owners. Yeah.
So they're in a little bit of an influx to begin with, and let alone, I don't think they have a basketball mind there because, Gobert, he was great during a time where you needed a center like that. But, the league is smaller and more mobile. Your centers are shooting threes, unless you're on the Knicks. But, the centers are shooting threes, and, it's a stretch game now. So, and I always felt like just put Towns at the 5. They could have added. Not that I'm glad we got Brunson, but I always said that I think Jalen Brunson should have been the guy they targeted in Minnesota. You brought him in there with that group. I think he kind of spearheads to make that team a hell of a lot better than Rudy Gobert would. So I don't know. It's bad basketball overall management and asset management that we're seeing from teams like Minnesota, who are trying to be relevant but yet becoming irrelevant. They're almost like the Charlotte Hornets of the West, in my opinion. I don't know if they got better.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see. I mean, this trade, like, it kind of looks like they're just helping the Lakers, and I don't know. Like, I don't subscribe to those kinds of things. I don't understand why they're all in the same conference, so I don't understand why they would want to do that. I do think I think it was a salary movement thing for both Conley and obviously Westbrook. Involved. Those are salary moves to clear those guys off. So I think that's really what it was for them. And yeah, I mean, let's be honest, the Lakers had to do something because, again, like I said, I don't think this makes them a contender or even kind of moves them up that much. I still don't think they're going to win, but they had to try something with having LeBron, kind of definitely at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have him under contract for I think another 2 years. So
yeah, I think it's 2 more. I think he signed a 2-year extension. They should have went with Conley to LA. That's what I would have brought Conley to LA over D'Angelo Russell. That, in my opinion, because I think Conley can orchestrate and get them all good shots. I just like that mix better and he can shoot from 3. He's not a bad piece, and he's a veteran player. I just would like him a little bit more in LA than him going to Minnesota. Like, if you're going to move D'Angelo Russell, I think it should have been for a different type of point guard, but not Conley. That doesn't even fit the timeline.
No,
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he's at the end of his career as well. So
let's start the captain to New York rumors now. I mean, because I'm being facetious, but kind of serious at the same time. Because why would you want to be there now? There's literally nothing in the coffers or nothing in. I know people always say, "We'll see the forest for the trees," but what are you seeing? There's nothing there. You have no draft capital. You got some second-round picks, and you gave away a talented player. Not, a game changer, but talented. So what's what are you doing?
I think from what they were saying, I forgot one of the pundits were saying that they believe Cat will not be moved, obviously at this deadline or during the summer, but it might be next year's deadline where Minnesota wants to get which I don't know what they need to get a look at. Everybody can see that team is just terrible, but they want to give it another year to get a view of this. It would behoove them to trade Karl Anthony Towns. Not saying just to the Knicks. I'm saying to any team that can offer an excess of assets and a good young talent, just to pair with Ant-Man, because that's your future now, and try to figure out from there when you get some more draft capital how you proceed in moving. And he's going to be a tough guy to play with also. He wants the ball. He's going to be a little bit more ball dominant once, he's talented. It's not like the talent's not there, but it's almost like Luka. You're going to have to match him with the right kind of guy next to him. And the right kind of coach. You got to have somebody who can coach him tough and that he's going to have to adhere to, and you need to have players. But Cat is a bad mix with him. LaMelo Ball was the mix that they should have put instead of Ant-Man. They should have paired Karl with LaMelo. That would have gave you your passer. Then you would have had your shooters. Now all of a sudden you got a little bit different. Your defense might have suffered a little bit, but it wouldn't have been – it was a better mix than getting – Ant-Man, and Ant-Man would have been better in Charlotte, because he would have been box office for them. He would have been the talent that would have drawn, the attention to the Hornets. These gyms are terrible when I think about it. It's like do you not watch who you're drafting and who's already on the team? It's terrible.
Well, there's a reason why those teams never do much, right? Like, there's a reason why we don't, and a reason why we don't do much.
Well,
as well. Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of the overall view Yeah, it's been kind of a weird mix. I started with the Knicks trade rumors. Craig went there. He started it talking about Towns. Obviously, this is not right now. We're not hearing anything about this being imminent, but that is one of the things now we're probably going to look out for. Maybe not just to the Knicks, but anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns is probably one of the guys who is on the move, because going forward, Minnesota's going to have to make a move to recoup some of the assets now that they don't have that they gave up for Gobert, and yeah, so all kind of craziness. But we'll go through some other of the trades that the Knicks are being talked through. The biggest one that came through, I want to say in the last day or so, we kind of heard it before, but it came back is the Josh Hart rumor, from Portland.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of those rumors where I see it and I just say, okay, why? Like, what is? I don't understand. This move to me wouldn't make much sense. They already have. I feel like they have a problem with too many guards.
Yeah.
Josh Hart is a guard. Now he's a fantastic rebounder for a guard. So
yes, he is.
You know, you could look at it from that point of view and say, well, he would help on the boards, but kind of a weird spot to be focusing on getting help from the boards from. You're picking a guard. I guess he could play a little small forward off the bench if they needed to. But who are they trading for him? And then who are you taking out of the rotation? Those are the two questions I have. So that's the first one. I guess on the care meter, let's throw a care meter out there. We'll say the care meter from 1 to 5. Where does Josh Hart rank on the care meter for you, Craig? Where does he rank?
3.5.
Okay, that's higher than I thought.
He's a Villanova guy. I mean, okay, if Tibbs was on his team, oh yeah, I would. Okay, yeah, because he's going to play 10. Whoever the coach would be will probably go 10 deep, and then you can see Josh Hart playing, being a piece on the team, right? But again, that Bondi quote kind of frustrates me. The Knicks have to be blown away by something. But blown away by what? If you're going to trade for someone, but then be constricted by a 9-man rotation. I'm trying. It's been a long day. I'm trying not to let that interfere with what we got going on.
Well, let's also look. Let's be realistic about that though too. Yeah. The Knicks don't exactly make trades with Tom Thibodeau in mind, as we could tell by when they got Cam Reddish, right? Like,
but then he doesn't play them.
That's what I mean. They don't really care about what he wants apparently, because they made the trade for Cam Reddish and he was never going to play. Like, let's just be honest. He was never going to play.
He was never.
I'll say this now and I'll stop. Again, what do you have to be blown away by, right? What are you looking for? Because it's obvious that you need a shot in the arm, but you're not getting LaMelo Ball. You're not getting a Trae Young. You clearly couldn't even get a Malik Beasley in a Vanderbilt. What do you need to be blown away by, which would then have you have someone that would play then? Like, I don't. It's one big circle jerk, right? Like you just said, it doesn't make sense. What are you waiting to be blown away by? If you're blown away by someone, then you're not going to play them. Are you going to go 10 deep? I'm just confused. Like, this front office, I respect the way I respect that about them, but at the same time, it's just like, well, you're going to run with this. You're going to run with this team into a play-in or the playoffs, and then you lose in the first round again. I don't know.
No, well, yeah, I agree with you. Like, what do you need to see? Right? You say, like, what are you waiting for? What do you need to see in order to pull the trigger? Because, I mean, let's be honest, any trade they make now would not have had the impact as what would have happened in the summer if they made the trade for Mitchell. Right? So if they didn't include all of those assets for him, like, we were hearing all these crazy assets about the other guy, which we've talked about in the past, and I'll bring it up now, is OG Anunoby was the other guy we heard, and we talked about it a little bit last week on about him coming here. And, like, I'm adamantly against that trade because of how much it's going to cost to get him. But if they weren't going to put in those assets for Mitchell, what Knick fan is going to look at this and say, you're gonna do that for OG instead. Like it kind of, that doesn't make sense either. So obviously the template for trades has changed. The Gobert trade changed everything with the pick compensation. So Ty, that's a good point that Craig brought up, and you could comment on that. What do you think they're waiting for?
I'm going to dig into my hip hop bag. This is an ode to Brother Prodigy and Brother Havoc from Mobb Deep. So they shook. There ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. They shook.
Yeah.
This front office is reluctant to mellowize any trade,
which I respect. I will interject.
I respect it to a degree.
Maddening.
I respect it to a degree, but the old adage goes back to scared money don't make money. This team lacks. I'm going to borrow Mick Foley from WWE. The testicular fortitude. Let's see how I clean that up. The testicular fortitude to say what I said. Coming out the shower swinging. They none of them. They got robes on. These dudes got robes and all kind of cover up. They're like, we're not coming out the shower swinging with this. We're not going to expose ourselves because we're not that brave in this market to make any moves. When you think about the dynamic, Cam Reddish should be gone. This should not come down to no deadline of the 25th hour. What we're moving. Cam should have been gone before the season started because you knew he was not doing anything with this kid. If you knew Obi, the minute Obi started playing at the end of last year, at the rate he was playing, and he was mesmerizing, and everyone was like, "Oh, jaw dropping," and he was stellar. You should have traded him too at the end. And the reason why I'm saying that you have no plans to do anything with these kids. You plan on doing nothing. And I'm an Obi fan. I don't want Obi gone. But from an organizational standpoint, if you're going to sit there and you're going to govern and let this coach do what he does, then it would behoove you to get players that match what he wants to do and commit to that. Instead of they're committing to two people, they're committing to the fan base and to Tom Thibodeau. And that to me is really bad basketball organization because you won't get a championship this way. What you'll do is be mediocre, which is what we are. We're an exciting team to watch, but they're reluctant to give up those major assets because they're walking around like, oh, we got the bag, but you're not spending any money. You're not spending any of the money on anything that makes you look glitzy or glamorous. They're like, they want to walk around and tell people we have the bag, that we have the capability, but not when you don't utilize it. Like when you got to think about 20.
Okay.
Coming up.
Breaking news. The Knicks have acquired Josh Hart.
For who?
That I don't know yet.
Wow.
But yes, the Knicks literally 15 seconds ago. Adrian Wojnarowski has reported that
I would hope that's for Cam. I hope that's for Cam.
I would imagine.
I would hope that's for Cam, and they probably gave up a pick for him. I would hope that's for Cam.
Yeah. I mean, but again, sorry, not to like.
No, but it doesn't do anything. It's like, what's it? How the thought was is that they would require if they acquired someone, if he's not significantly better than who's starting ahead of him, they're going to be right where Cam is. They're going to sit on the bench and not because
the only thing I can
doesn't trust Josh Hart yet.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing. And I'm going to cut you off. Please do not lose your spot.
No, go ahead. I got you.
I want to go back to, was it Tibbs' first year or second year here? There was that podcast interview floating around with Josh Hart was talking about how much he knew Tibbs loved him and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know what that would mean in terms of if Thibodeau signing off on it and then him actually playing, but I'll just put that out there. I mean, I'll try to find it and I'll send it to you guys later, but
he's the type of player Tibbs should want to play.
He is a Tibbs guy.
He's a Villanova kid. He rebounds, he gets at it. I like Josh Hart. Me and Erica talked about Josh Hart.
Yeah, I like him.
When we played Portland, I was like, man, that dude would fit really good on the Knicks because he gets after the boards. It's not like he's It's just it's the coach thing. It's not about Josh Hart as much as it's about we don't know the mood of this coach. We don't know how this is going to play out because there's some ridiculous pecking order that has Evan Fournier buried on the bench after he had a great game that won them the game. And he came in the locker room and basically said, hey, one night stand, you guys won't see me ever again still. Now, why would you not utilize that asset? You know, in the next game, you're playing in Orlando. He played in Orlando. You think he might want to come back and have a little revenge game in Orlando? Absolutely. Why not give him a few minutes when you're struggling to score? That's what like I said, I don't know. Like, answer this question: is Josh Hart better than Emmanuel Quickley?
Like he's better. They're
I think
different
all
kinds
around
of
better.
players,
Yeah, they're better. They're different players.
right? It's hard to say.
Then you're going to toss it up that Quickley is going to go ahead of Josh Hart. That's what I'm saying because it's a favorite game with Thibodeau. It's not about who's the better player or who can add greater balance. You know, we know Deuce McBride is not better than Josh Hart, but Josh Hart may play behind Deuce McBride. You don't know. How can it could happen.
It's true, and I mean, I can't believe we have a guard that's not like Russell Westbrook or James Harden in this league that's averaging 8 rebounds per game, and he's not a. That's crazy to me when I see that. But
yeah, he's great. I like him. I like his game though.
Yeah, and he's a good defensive player too, which I think obviously when you're hearing Tom Thibodeau.
So Tibbs
that's the guy who I think I don't know. Again, I'm trying to find out the parameters of the trade guys and who we gave up. So we'll see exactly what they acquired him for. But so I don't know yet. But that's where we're at with that. But yeah, I think the guy who could, if he's not involved in this trade, which wouldn't surprise me if it was, but I think McBride is the guy that would obviously lose out, and which is nuts because he's been playing so well lately. So of course, let's trade one of our young guys who are playing well for a guy who, how old is Hart? How old is Josh Hart?
He's older. He's
got to be in his probably.
He's 27. He's 27.
I was about to say 20. I was about to say 28, but 27.
So yeah, I guess that's technically your prime in the NBA. You're around 27, 28, right? I guess that makes a little sense. I do think you could add a little versatility here, even though he's only 6'4". You can play him in the front court. He's that kind of a player. Like if you wanted to play 3 guards, he's kind of the guy who could play that small forward spot.
But he's definitely a Tibbs guy, though. So it would have had to be Tibbs saying, okay, but he'll probably have to go 10 deep now, right? I mean, I can't see Grimes not still being Grimes, right? So
always remember Tibbs wanted Evan. That's all I got to tell you.
Okay,
he wanted Evan.
I have the parameters. It is our boy Cam.
Okay, that makes sense.
Please don't say
but they're also this part bothers me. They're also including a future first round pick.
What?
But whose pick though?
I don't know. That part it just.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You traded a first and Cam Reddish to get Josh Hart, and you traded a first to get Cam in the first place. You traded basically 2 firsts. Cam Reddish has cost us 3 first-round picks. Wow.
That's my response as well. The first I saw like the first things leaking out about the parameters, and it said Hartenstein and Reddish, and I was like, wait a minute, time out. Hold on a second. Obviously, that's not what happened. But when I first saw that, I didn't even want to mention it because I was like, wow, that can't be true.
Flavor, wow.
Right? Like that's just I'm not
terrible. That's terrible. Oh, they all need to be fired. I'm sorry. Who's ever making that decision? I could see a second rounder. To give away a first for Cam after you gave up a first, Cam Reddish is every asset Leon Rose has botched, because we got to go to the botch thing now. He has surrendered Jalen Duren to get Jalen Brunson by giving up Alec Burke, Noel, and the picks. They've given up picks to get rid of these problems. This is crazy.
All right, let me bounce it back to Craig since he's the one who brought this up. Is that good use of the assets?
Depending on what it is. If it's like a 2027, or I mean, I don't know. No, it's not. If we're being
Oh, it's hard.
mature and logical about it, I would say no. But nuance and context also matters, right? So, what pick is it? Is it something that we don't care about? Is it something like all right, but it's still a first round pick? So that's what's going to stick in people's craw. The first round pick. It doesn't matter that it may be an insignificant pick. It's just the idea of hearing first round pick. But I still want to see that. I still want to see where it is, right?
I can't. Like I'm sorry. And again,
No,
it
I
could be
get it.
that I'm old.
I
It
get
could
it.
be that, yeah, it
No,
could
I
be
get
just
it.
that I'm old too, right? Like I don't
I could be in my grave.
understand new
I could be in
market.
my grave and I still be mad about that pick. If they say, "Well, I'm going to give this," they're going to give the first round when Ty dies. I'd still come out of my grave and be mad as hell that they gave up that many picks for Cam, for a guy you didn't play and he didn't want. That's insane.
You know, people are saying that some like Jonathan Macri, who of course Knicks Film School,
Yeah.
who they do an excellent job over there. He's saying that there probably is more involved because money wise this wouldn't work, but I don't know. I don't know how that goes. It does seem kind of funny. I do know, unless he's a guy who, because his next, it's a weird thing with his contract. It's a player option next year, but it's not guaranteed for Hart. So he could exercise it, and the team could still be like, "Yeah, we don't want you and cut you anyway." I don't understand. I don't understand that.
Is this is an expiring contract?
Yeah, it's an expiring contract. Technically, it's an expiring
my
contract. Yeah.
Goodness, are you?
Yeah,
See, that just makes
now,
me so edgy.
And now I can rewind in my brain back to the draft, like because you kind of brought it up to the trade they moved. They did to free up to get Brunson. Trading Duran, which turned the pick, trading Jalen Duran in the trade. Who has looked pretty good. Let's be honest, he's looked pretty good.
Yeah, he has.
So I'm starting to believe and fall under. I was leaning that way, but now I'm like 2 feet firmly embedded in the. They have no idea what they're doing camp.
They don't know. They have no clue. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Me and you are 10 toes both deep in that they don't know what the HE helicopter that they're doing.
And I think Craig believes us too, because I could see him try to look at his phone and he don't understand it either. So he's like, "What the hell is going on?" I don't know.
Hold on, let me make sure.
Yeah, I wanted you to. I wanted to trade, but not at this cost. What is the like?
Exactly. What's the plan?
What's the Avengers? What's the end game?
I mean, so I want to hold off and hopefully Macri. I mean, something else has to. Maybe there's other players involved. Maybe it's a player they want. I don't know. I'm all around.
That first better be a right to swap. First,
that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that there's some kind of
swap, a right
parameters.
Swap. I've given up. There better be some heavy conditions, and the right to swap. That will translate into a second rounder down the line if you don't execute. There better be some heavy protection, which it still does not matter. Just cut Cam. Just cut him and sign Hart, Josh Hart in the offseason if he's going to be unrestricted anyway. You don't give up that asset for that. And he's not going to make you a bet. I would have rather, and I'm going to go here, which I'm very shocked I'm going to say this. I would have rather you gave the assets up for OG Anunoby if you're going to start surrendering first-round picks. At least to be a talent that can move you in a direction towards a championship that he has a high-level skill set, potential player of the year, defensive player of the year. You can match him and if you could put OG and Mitch together, your lineup is spectacular defensive-wise, and then you would have a guy like Grimes. Although I don't think Grimes is as elite as most people make him out to be, but I'm just saying it really shores up your basketball team defensively.
All right, so I'm sorry. So
go ahead.
What we're just saying, the Knicks are trading Cam Reddish and a future first-round pick to the Blazers. Protected future first-round pick. So we need to know the parameters of that protection, though, right?
Exactly. And I want to know, is it their first round pick or are they
Yeah,
trading?
so that would be the nuance, right? But then 7 minutes prior to that, like you said, Mac Reed said, according to Jake Fisher, uh, heard from someone that may be Hartenstein and Reddish. Have to imagine there is draft comp involved, but it's Hartenstein
Right.
obviously isn't happening. But I mean, it still could. But
That would be great if that was the move.
again, we have to wait and see because the Woj tweet came out. I don't know what time did that come out.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Macri and what those guys do, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Woj
I'm not going to look. Yeah, Woj say I need to hear it from him or Mark
no,
Stein
or Shams.
Yeah, or someone like that.
Those dudes are and Macri's tied in, but those guys are Macri's tied a little bit into the Knicks. You know, he has whatever his plug there, but Woj is plugged in. Well, he's the internet. He's plugged in everywhere. So, you know, it's a little bit.
I will say I did this morning. I did send a quick message out to the my source, quote unquote, and he did tell me that the Hart stuff was possible. Like he said, he's been hearing the same thing, that the Hart stuff is possible. So
Yeah.
I'm not completely surprised this went down, but it is a little, again, the package to me. That's, I mean, I would have thought 2 players because like for the salaries to match, that kind of thing. But like a second rounder, yes, I get a second round pick.
A second rounder, yes.
But a first, I don't know.
If it's a protected pick from another team, I mean, I'm trying to talk myself into it, but you.
Well, Craig, that's the funny thing, and I just want to, I'll let you finish your point. But that's the funny thing. All these people, like I'm reading my Twitter feed, all these people who were kind of like, oh, I'd be fine if they didn't do anything, and all these respected people who like analyze and other bloggers and people who do have shows, they're doing the same thing in real time, talking to themselves into believing this is a really good trade. And I'm not saying it's bad.
No. I'm not talking myself into it being a good trade. I'm trying to eat around the edges. Like if it's a pick from someone else, like okay, I get it, but why? How did Portland strong arm you into getting a first round pick? Protection or not? How? Or you just that desperate because you want to do good by Cam, but you already screwed the kid's career. And I guarantee you somebody like Cam doesn't want to be in Portland unless he really just wants to play basketball and he doesn't care at this point. But
Portland's a good team for him to go to, though, to be very honest. I
agree with that, yeah.
He will get an opportunity in Portland. He won't get an opportunity in a lot of places, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I agree in the sense of they did him dirty here. I don't care if you don't like the kid. I don't care if you don't like how he plays. Obi and him are being done the dirtiest of any 2 young players I've seen. It's an atrocity what the Knicks are doing. Well, Tom Thibodeau is doing to these young guys who need to feed their families, literally not going to Latrell Sprewell here, but they're playing for their next contract. They're all on rookie deals still, and they're looking to get their big payday at some point, and you've undercut this kid like he can't play, and that's not the truth. Question his motor, yes, but it's not like he can't play ball. He probably wasn't going to get a big contract extension, but right now he might be playing for like a vet minimum next season.
Well, I mean that's
crazy. When he's a 10th seed or 10th pick or whatever, that's kind of crazy.
And the thing is, I guess the CAA connection really doesn't matter for Obi because he's getting 12 minutes a game, right? Like someone in that camp should be saying like, "Yo, dude, like you're going to treat one of your own." We're talking about. I know it doesn't matter, but I'm just saying like someone should be saying something to like, "Are you serious?"
No, I mean, and I don't want to continue to talk about the coach. Like we've made it perfectly clear on the what you're saying is right, but I don't want to continually harp on the coach. We do that a lot on this show. We bash him a lot, and I don't want. And I think it's warranted it always comes back to him for me. So whatever we do talk about when it's not the coach, it's kind of the coach, even when we're not saying his name specifically. So I'm with you there, but this, I mean,
this is front office issues right now.
Exactly, it's a front office issue, and
even Thibodeau is a front office issue.
And we see it now. It manifests itself every time something happens.
Yep,
it's a front office issue, and I said this in the beginning when they hired Rose. I was okay with that move. My problem was when they started hiring all these other people as advisors and bringing other people in. I mean, let's be honest. Outside of having a cool name, what has William Wesley done besides collect a check? What has he done?
Just a lyric in a Jay-Z song.
Seriously, like they're not getting. They were getting Brunson without him.
Yeah,
Brunson was coming here without him. That was a done deal. As soon as the playoffs happened last year, that was a done deal.
That was done.
He was coming here. So who has he helped them get?
Real quick, so Fred Cash tweeted about 3 minutes ago, Reddish for Hart does not work salary-wise.
Right.
Knicks would have to be sending out more money in a trade than that. So,
yep.
Hopefully it's iHeart. Hopefully it's iHeart. And no reason
I don't want that.
I'm just saying because I do think Jericho deserves minutes as the backup. You can use those assets, those monies to get another player. We're not going anywhere. This is my biggest thing about this team. This team with all of these vet moves to make some big playoff push. We're going to be out in the first round more than likely with the team as is. I'd rather be out in the first round with Jericho Sims, who's playing on a whatchamacallit. He's playing on a second round last pick of the draft contract, which is one of the more friendly things you can have, similar to that of Mitch. And iHeart gone means Jericho gets a minute, and it should free up time for Obi. Because how that kid is just sitting on the bench, getting popcorn for everybody is ridiculous too. I mean, not that Tibbs is going to go a 5-man, put him at the 5, but at least maybe this will get him some more minutes instead of having that option to come off the bench. Because if you got to put in iHeart, if iHeart's gone, then you have just one center at that point, which is Jericho Sims, and then you would free up time for Obi, or Julie's at the 5 and Obi at the 4. At least Obi will get some minutes. Although I think iHeart's played a lot better over the last 2 weeks, which is crazy.
Josh Hart found like he was getting traded during warming up, man. Like as they're out on the court.
I saw that. He went back into they said he was there and he just went back in and didn't come back out. Yeah.
This league is crazy, man.
So
they're raw. This league
if we're throwing in Hartenstein, can we get Shaden Sharp back in the deal? Is that that's something that happening?
You know who we probably will get if we're throwing that? We'll probably get a guy like what's his name? Justin Winslow. That's probably who's
Justice Winslow? Yeah.
Another defensive body.
Don't forget it.
It's not gonna be cute.
Or Craig, who's what's it called? Oh yeah, I'm thinking the wrong guy. Sorry, forget it.
Cool.
I was gonna bring someone up, but it's not the guy I was thinking of, so don't worry about it. It's fine. But yeah, I do think that's a good situation for Reddish. I do. I feel like that the coaching staff there will give him more of an opportunity than he ever got here. So for Cam, I'm happy for him.
I'm happy for him too.
Because as much as I don't like, as much as I shouldn't say I don't like him, as much as I don't think he's ever going to be max out his talent and be the player he could be. I think he deserves at least an opportunity to show that. So, and
I like him paired with a guy who is a leader in Dame Lillard and Chauncey Billups. If Cam can't get right on that team, Cam will never be right. And the reason why I'm saying that for Billups is a really good coach for those young guys, and Dame is a great leader. I never hear anything bad about Dame's leadership since he's been in Portland. People falling over his leadership ability. I think if anything, that would be a time where Cam, if he can't get right on Portland, he may never get right in the league. So This is his opportunity to probably get minutes because they're going to need defenders. They've always missed a small forward on Portland. That's what they've always been one short. So he has all of the opportunity in the world to go there and produce and show why, prove Tom wrong. Not that it's hard to prove Tom wrong because Tom has been more wrong than anything. But
Oh
I'm
God,
saying that it would be interesting to see him on there. I think that's a good landing spot.
they're sending Luke to Portland in the deal.
Who?
They're Luke. Am I saying his name right?
Luke, yes.
Luke. Sorry, excuse my ignorant.
No, it's
American
fine.
tongue.
It's fine.
That's the that's V. That's not Z.
Yeah, it is. Svi.
Svi, yep, Svi is going.
He
Svi.
gone.
He gone.
But
So
Evan Fournier's still here, right? Evan
does that get
Fournier's
him to the what you call it? Is that the filler to facilitate the trade?
That can't be.
Well, Hart's at what, 14?
I think 12. Yeah, I think so. Next year is 12.9. I think he had a descending.
12.9. What's Cam like? Might be 6 or 7.
I think so because it's a first round pick. You have a certain.
So he's 6 or 7, still on his rookie deal.
Let me.
So
see.
you got another $5 million. You got to fill in. I don't know what Hartenstein makes. Hartenstein probably makes a little bit over. He makes over that, I would think.
Let me just throw it. Yeah, I'll figure this out, but it's kind of a crazy.
Who else is Portland? Are they swapping players?
What's his name? Oh, they did this already? Oh wow. I went to check the NBA trade machine.
Oh, they do it real
they already
quick.
have it done. They're done already. I'm like, what? Wait a second.
So apparently, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
This is a local thing. Sorry, I'm just being real cheesy here. So Brunson's getting his jersey retired down the street.
Yeah.
From my house, essentially. And I'm watching the video of him finding out in real time that the Knicks just got Josh Hart, and he's turning red because he's so light skinned.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So he's finding
Right,
someone showing him.
But you know what? I like those Villanova dudes, though. I'm going to tell you that much. I'm not mad about. I mean, I would have liked to have Sadiq Bey. The Villanova dudes, they know how to play.
Yeah, that's it. That trade
What?
that made it a successful trade. So yeah,
What?
that's the parameter. Yeah, Mihailuk. Yeah.
Because technically, when you look at a guy like Cam, his greater. Not that I want the Knicks to give up a first rounder. Clearly not. But Josh Hart is the better talent coming in because we know what he is. We know what he's going to bring to the table.
I would have rather heard Bey, dude. I'm sorry. If they're making a trade tonight, I'd rather be Sadiq Bey, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I would have. That's who I think. Now, see, if they gave up a first for Cam with Sadiq Bey, I would have made more sense on the upside. But that first round, I don't care if it's protected or not, it's just the fact you got to get rid of Cam with a first rounder again.
Yeah, I don't. That's the part I don't understand either. Like, what is, like you got all these assets to include them for Josh Hart.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You won't give it up for that. That was my point. Not that I want OG Anunoby at the price that probably Toronto wants, but if I'm giving up first round picks, I'm giving it up for an elite talent. Like, I mean, no offense to Josh Hart. He's going to be a nice role player, which is all this team is a bunch of role players. But if you're talking about giving up first round picks, it has to be a needle moving talent. It can't be someone who's just going to come in and he might get 5 minutes. He may not get him 5 minutes, depending if he calls out the offense and tells an assistant coach. He may never be seen again. You know, I mean, it's literally you're giving up assets that are not needle moving assets. To get not needle moving players. I mean, you might as well give the 3 picks for OG and give him Obi. If you're going to do that, why are you going to? You have a first round for Josh Hart. You've essentially given up in the whole Cam debacle. Yeah, Kevin Knox, waste management. We know he wasn't great. Still was a first rounder. You gave another first rounder to get rid of him to get Cam. Now you've given up, technically, in the asset management department, you've given up 3 of your picks or 3 assets to get Cam and to move Cam. That's insane.
Yeah.
And you gave up assets to get rid of Nerlens Noel, and what's his name? Alec Burks. So what are they gonna trade Derrick Rose with a first round pick too?
Well, yeah, that was I wanted to switch focus to the two guys on this team who everyone thought would be traded,
Yeah.
and I guess still might be before tomorrow's deadline, and Derrick Rose is one of them. We heard today Mark Stein reported that Milwaukee has shown interest. Ty, that's the team you had brought up in the past about him possibly going to.
Yep.
So that there's still a possibility there. Would it be Derrick Rose for Grayson Allen straight up? I doubt it. I'm lying. But.
Yeah.
But again, that would be a situation where I'm like, okay, then you give a first round pick for Grayson Allen. Right?
Yeah, that one I could understand.
That would make sense.
Yeah, that one I could understand. That would make a little bit more sense to do something like that for Allen. And then the other guy is Evan Fournier, who obviously has been playing a lot better lately, right? Like we have, he's gotten a little bit of time. And the other, what it was 2 games ago, I forget who they played, but he basically won the game for them. Like he was.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he was instrumental in the comeback. Was it the Philly game? I forget which game.
Philly game. Yep, I think it's Philly.
Yeah, so he's instrumental in the comeback,
and
then he obviously the Knicks closed it out, won the game. So, those two guys are still here, and I have a feeling they might not be by tomorrow at 3. I don't know who else they target. Obviously, maybe the Derrick Rose move would be to take back an expiring deal and get picks that way as well. Maybe it's not Grayson Allen. I think that would be nuts if it was, because I would be asking, well, what the hell is Milwaukee doing if they did that? That'd be a surprise to me. Why would you trade a guy who's playing well, is younger, and is one of your rotation players for a guy who's out of the rotation and old? That would make no sense to me. But apparently that's the theme.
The funniest thing about Ev was that Evan Fournier was mentioned time and time again that the Knicks. This is why this Cam thing is kind of crazy when you think about it. It had been mentioned that the Knicks were adamant about not including an asset to get rid of Evan Fournier.
Right.
But they traded an asset to get rid of Cam Reddish.
Yep, that's fair.
Talk about the Zoolander that's going on in New York. I know these moves, you never surrender first-round picks unless it's for something genuinely great. The fact that they're tossing this out with like laundry and not caring about down the road. I mean, I'm interested to know what this pick is. Whose pick is this? Is it ours? And what year? And what year is this pick? I'm very fascinated to figure out what year, because if this is down the line, you've given up an asset to where you may not be that damn good.
Okay, I'm gonna read. I know what the pick is. Woj just reported it. The Knicks are sending the Blazers a lottery protected 2023 first. So our pick this year, a lottery protected 2023 first round pick that turns into 4 future second round picks if not conveyed this year. The Knicks need to make the lottery for this pick. They traded this year's first round pick to get him. No, look, if anyone tuned in right now and just saw us sitting here, they think someone died. Like, that's what it looked like. Guys, this is terrible. What the hell? Holy crap.
This is maybe the first time this podcast may go on autopilot, because I have nothing. I don't even know what to say about that.
Oh, Archie Diacono is going in the trade too.
Oh yeah, he's been killing it. Haven't figured out why he was here in the first place.
Well, they had to trade the Villanova guy to get a Villanova guy. So that's what that was.
So they traded their own 23.
I'm trying to understand how that.
Or was it Dallas's 20?
So if they don't go into the lottery, it turns into 4 first round picks. Is that am I understanding?
Second.
I'm sorry, 4 second round picks. Yes.
According to this, the trade, like I just mentioned it, basically. That's what the trade is. They traded their 2023. The Knicks are sending the Blazers a lottery protected 2023 first round pick that turns into 4 future second round picks if not conveyed this year.
So do the Knicks have to go? They have to not make.
If they don't make the again, I'm assuming
they don't get the lottery. then they
Yeah.
have to surrender the pick.
Yes.
But I think if they forego surrender, I guess that could be a stipulation. I don't know how that's supposed to work.
Yeah, I'm always confused about when things conveying and not
Like if the
conveying.
Knicks decide not to convey it, it turns into four second round picks.
No, that just means if it doesn't meet the parameter.
Oh,
That's what that means. If the Knicks, if this is anywhere past pick 15 or 16, whatever the lottery ends, I think it's 15, then they get it. Then Portland gets it.
They get
That's
the first round pick.
Yep. And again, I'm assuming it's their own. I'm assuming it's the Knicks' first round pick.
now if the Knicks gave up Dallas's, it would make more sense because when you think about it, Dallas, if they do jump with Luka and Kyrie, if they ball out, then it may make a little bit better sense that they might be a higher pick, like it might be a lower lottery, a lower first round. But both the Knicks and Dallas right now, I think, are like 19 and 20 or 18 and 19, respectively, in the lottery in a tank.
I mean, if Dallas doesn't, what's it called? If Kyrie plays, they're easily in. The West is easy this year.
Yeah.
So
they're destroying the Clippers right now without Luka. They're about 17 in the first.
This is ridiculous.
This is the worst. This might be the worst one. And this is the front office listening to the Penguin right now. That kind of move.
That's the only way I can explain it.
Give up this pick because to move this is a win now. Like we are Milwaukee Bucks. This is a Milwaukee Buck move. This is not a team searching for answers. Josh Hart is not changing the Knicks. This has got nothing to do with him. You don't give up a first rounder. You can give up a conditional. All these are second round play moves. You give up seconds. And people who might think that it's a late pick, it doesn't matter. They should look at the draft and realize that some of those guys in that late picks are pretty talented dudes. So it's not like you're getting. They might be better. You might be better than Josh Hart's. That's what I'm just saying. But this is the coach unwilling to play anybody who's drafted. You're going to hear the pundits. How many rookies can you have on one team? Oh, Tom's not going to play him. Oh, they're going to be ready to meet. People are under the illusion that we are a great team, which is very sad because we are a team that teeter-totters. And at best, unless giving some luck that Brooklyn collapses, we're going to be in between the 7th and 8th seed. That's what
they're going for the 6th seed. Like that's really the cap.
That's the cap. You're right.
Of where they could go.
According to Fred Katz, they're on pace to go 44 and 38.
Right.
Yeah.
So this does what? Maybe they go 45 and 37. Like what does this trade do? It doesn't move the needle, and I cannot believe it's this year's pick
out of all the years.
And again, I'm praying to God that it's not their own, or it's not. Maybe if it's their own, it's not Washington's. I think Washington's the one that is the better pick. I think that's the one we get. Gets conveyed this year. So, but this whole, what are you doing? Like, I would have made Portland. Who's the Portland GM? Because I want to shake his hand.
Pritchard. No, he's in Minnesota now, right? I believe
so.
Yeah.
I want to shake his hand because
everybody Vaseline's the Knicks. Started with Stephon, now it's starting with Portland. Everybody Vaseline's the Knicks. This is a damn shame.
Who is there? No, it's not Kevin Pritchard. It's Neil Olshey, I believe. Is that
I think it is Olshey. I think it is. You're right.
Olshey? Is that who it is? Because I want to shake his hand. That is a fantastic move. Yeah, I believe it is Olshey. Oh, no, this is the 2021.
So Bagley's reporting Knicks, Blazers, Josh Hart, and Cam Reddish deal has also been discussed as a potential 3-team trade. Also,
Has been
Okay,
discussed
who's the third team?
he didn't say yet. He just said
because you technically have a roster spot open now with Archie Diacono and blah 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 not there anymore, right? So I don't know. I'm not doing this again because on draft night, on draft night, we thought that the Detroit thing was turning into us getting Ivy. So I'm not doing that again. So
Yeah.
well, now here's the thought. They're saying a lottery protected 2023 first round pick. The Dallas Mavericks pick was protected. It was
Yeah.
protected from the top part. I think it's top 10 protected. So technically, I think it might be Dallas's pick. Is my point.
Well, I mean, if it's Dallas's pick, I still hate it, but I
hate it, but it's better than it being our pick.
Yeah.
Either way, it's terrible. But I could see that one probably landing more in the late first round with Dallas.
yeah, but language is important to me. It said had also been discussed. So past tense. So does that mean
that seems like it's more of a past tense thing. Oh,
this team keeps nicking.
see,
That's for sure.
this is the thing too. Like I'm looking at polls, like, oh, what do you think? How do you think this trade? How do you feel? Right now, this for Knicks fans, it says it's like an 85% approval. And I'm like, what do you? I can't. I'm old. I really believe that I'm just old now.
Oh, you old. Get off my lawn.
I really believe that. That's just why my reaction is what it is because I'm old and I don't understand how these things work anymore. Because, man, this dude is Josh Hart. Like,
I think the thing is with I think the biggest thing about like this current Knick roster and this success, if you want to put it in quotes, we're going back to the same thing with the bubble. You think you're better than what you are. So everyone's seeing this as, oh, we're gaining somebody who's going to make us better because we're beating these teams. And don't get me wrong, the Knicks are a better team this year with Brunson. Julius has been playing better because he seemed like he's got his Usa moment. But they have not seen how we've won games. Like, we are not winning games like a juggernaut. We have to be at our best to win games. Josh Hart is not going to make you great because you need all the components of the Knicks to work almost in a perfect manner in order to beat these teams. So you're saying you're going into a 7-game series where the opposing coach is going to make adjustments and they all have superstars. And you're going to say that you trust this coach and you trust what is our best player, according to this coach, which is Julius Randle.
it seems like it honestly feels like they acquired him to be their defensive stopper guy. Like, I feel like that's going to be his job. He's going to come in, which is crazy because everyone's like, oh, everyone thought that was Grimes.
Yeah.
And then you look at the numbers, and Grimes is, if Barrett is bad, Grimes is just as bad. Like, if you look at their numbers, defensive metrics,
he's getting cooked.
That's how it looks. Like, the numbers are not that crazy, not that far off.
Grimes has become the new toy for Knicks fans. You know, they look at it and you know, everybody wants to throw RJ out in the bathwater. And I understand RJ has been very, you know, up and down from time to time. He has these slow starts. And those slow starts tend to make Knicks fans a little bit more, you know, like, oh God, the world is going to fall apart. And I get that. I get that about it. But if you're watching Grimes and you're thinking that Grimes is the guy that's all of a sudden he's going to replace RJ and oh boy, you're not watching him play defense. Because the key thing everybody's talking about is, oh, he's lights out from 3-point range. And that he is going to replace RJ's performance. And he's going to defend better. That guy's been getting cooked. Cooked like a Chinese buffet cook. A lot of dishes. So they need to pay attention to that. Hart probably is coming in to be that guy.
Yep. And apparently the Knicks and Bucks are still discussing a Derrick Rose trade, according to sources. So that's certainly still something. And we were just discussing that. So I think yeah, I mean
that'll put him closer to home to Chicago. He wouldn't be Chicago, but
he'd be playing, right? Like he'd be playing.
Yeah, they need a guy like him, in my opinion. Definitely when it comes to the playoff time. I think he makes Milwaukee a lot better depth-wise. When Drew Holiday goes out, he's a guy that can come in and give him buckets.
But if they had to give up a first and Cam Reddish to get Josh Hart, they better be getting a first back in the Derrick Rose trade.
That's the only conversation to me, is that you're getting back that asset from another team, because it's just maddening to know that they are giving up. And knowing Brock Aller, he's always been that guy who gets another pick out of another deal. Right. You know, he trades back and he gets an additional asset. That's usually how he's operated. If
maybe this was the Greek guy. Maybe the Greek guy did this trade. What was his name? The Greek dude?
Oh, the new dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking about how he was keen on Malik Beasley. He was very fond of him. So that was one of the reasons why. Well, you got another breaking?
Oh, Rojas. No, I was saying you're talking about the guy from Minnesota that's with the Knicks now. That you're referring to?
Yeah, I think that's the
Rojas. Grossen Rojas.
Yeah, he's got some little bit. The Knicks got too many cooks, in my opinion. You got to have one voice. You know, that's the one thing about leadership, is when you got you have multiple voices. No one, who's following who. And I just don't think Leon has a voice. I never felt like he has. I think that's why he doesn't do public speaking. I think that's why it's all staged.
With him. Fire him. Like, I don't care. If you don't want to have one guy have the job, just say we have 4 presidents. Like, I don't care. Like,
or get the freckle pimp just to be the damn everything. Scott Perry was well capable of running the Knicks. He's made some of the better trades for the Knicks, and when you think about, and his connections throughout the league are very well respected. You didn't need Leon became a novelty for Dolan because they were hiring agents, and he for some reason got bought. He bought into the idea that these guys are so connected that they're gonna do what Meek couldn't do. Meek couldn't bring in the star. So now they're thinking that, these guys are connected enough, and they sold them on that. They sold them an idea that we have connections, and we're going to bring in this talent. And there's no pathway, in my opinion, to bring in the talent the way that they were trying to bring it in, which is a guy's going to force his way here, or you have a connecting line of somebody who's disgruntled. And the New York tax is way too high. Like I said, if they didn't get Donovan Mitchell, if you didn't get Donovan Mitchell, and this organization looked like they were geared, they had put together to get Donovan Mitchell, and you didn't get him, I don't think you're getting anybody else. How can you? What's more insightful? You got his favorite coach on the bench. You got all the connection. He wants to come to New York. He wanted to be in New York.
Hometown kid, yep.
And you couldn't get him here with all this Worldwide West connections.
Yeah.
If you couldn't get that dude here, when Brunson came, when they said everybody's Brunson, they can't get Brunson, they should be fired because his father hangs out in the gym and drinks soda with Tibbs. You can't get Brunson here; it's really bad.
I think again, I still think after hearing all of the information, Ainge was never trading him here anyway. So
I don't think so either.
Because let's look at the math here. You try to fleece the Knicks for picks, right? You get a bunch of players from Cleveland and 2 or 3 picks. Mm-hmm. Then the reporting, right, because you know how much I hate the media, says that Utah wanted a pick for Beasley, a pick for Vanderbilt, and I'm assuming a pick to take on Fournier, right? If I'm reading it, it says 3 first-round picks. So you trade 2 of them essentially for 1 first-round pick, right? So does that mean that the reporting that the negotiations were that contentious that maybe the Knicks didn't want to give. They thought they were smarter than they thought they were, or was maybe Ainge really just being a bleep hit, and he
He was
just
trying to jack up the
because
package from
because it's the
Cleveland.
Knicks.
Yeah.
That's what he was trying to do.
It's Knicks leverage, but then you hear the
Yeah.
rumors that Ainge was not part of the negotiation. It was
I don't believe it.
literally Greek man and the owner of the Jazz.
And I think that Ainge was probably behind the scenes, like, oh no, keep
Well,
going.
then why? But I don't like. Then I don't get that. What does the owner care?
It has so is Ainge. It has to be Ainge.
Right. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why would the owner care about that part of it? Like, why would you not? And because the big thing was, and I think this is true in a lot of places, when a guy is under contract and says he wants to leave, the team that's sending him out never wants to trade him where he wants to go.
Yeah, he's not doing no favor.
And he wanted to come to the Knicks. He was this, like you said, all the things, Ty. You know, he has a coach here that he knows. He's from the area. He's a hometown guy. His father works for the Mets, pitched for the Mets, still kind of associated with the Mets.
He hangs out here during the summer.
Right. You know, like all that stuff. So if it's not like everyone says he didn't ask for a trade. In my opinion, if Donovan Mitchell doesn't ask for a trade, you're not trading him. So he might not have publicly asked for a trade or let it get out there that he wanted to be traded.
Yeah, but he did everything to show he wanted out.
Right. So, and they knew, and they wanted to obviously reset as well. So,
and I think also, you know, it was when you look at the Knicks, how they operated, like I said, with the Brunson showing up at the games, also Donovan Mitchell was at that game, clearly that first round matchup. You know, it probably rubbed salt for a lot of owners, you know, the big markets coming in here trying to fleece some rug. And not that Dallas is a big market, but, you know, still. I think the Knicks' arrogance was well talked about coming in there, you know, maybe due to the William Wesleys thinking that they have the connection and they're going to go poach your players. If I was an owner and I had an employee like that I know everyone wanted, I'm not sending them to you. I wouldn't send him to the Knicks. Would you send him to the Knicks? If you were running business, would you send him to where he wanted to go? I wouldn't have. And then Donovan's hanging out like he didn't want to come home. Like he's like, oh, I'm hanging out in New York all year long, you know. And he, you know, he's acting like he's already a Knick. You know, the only thing he didn't do was he's hanging out with Quickly. I mean, it's the cosmetics were bad.
They were bad. But Ty, to your point, right? I'm sorry, I didn't say something.
no, go ahead.
But to your point, the last game at the Garden, look at how he interacts with Knick players. Look how he interacts with the people on Celebrity Row. Look at that last play where Hartenstein blocks his shot and he messes up his calf. Every single Knick, for the most part, that was in that game was standing around him with calf players trying to help him up.
They want him.
And he wants the Knicks.
He wants to come here.
It's just like it's so weird that like he says in the pregame, I don't want to talk about it anymore. But during the game, or after the game or during the game, he gravitates towards every Knick player, which is almost weird.
He's home because, you know, it's like Eric and I talk about. I mean, we know you from Philly. It's not like trying to say you can't relate because you relate to it, even if you're in Philly relating to it. You know what Philly people are like, and New York people know what the vibe is. He wants to be home in so many ways because he's like, this is me, all of this culture, the hot dog cart dude, you know, hanging out in the park, you know, the Mets, you know, he's a fan of more than just basketball as a New York athlete. This is ingrained in him. It's all that he wants. So naturally, he's in the Garden like, well, hey, you know, why couldn't y'all just get me here? Because I want to be here. He wants the full smoke of New York.
They would, yeah.
And he would do well here. He knows the lay of the land. He knows what is going to come with it, the criticism, like RJ. Like you look at RJ, you know, he's by proxy coming from, you know, Toronto, but
his mother's
his
from
mom is, you know, the grandfather's been here.
Summers, right.
Yeah, the roots are here. He's been here. He knows. And he's feeling the vibe of wanting to be a part of New York. You know, it's a New York thing. It really is. I hate to be like, oh, cliche, but it is a New York vibe. And Donovan Mitchell is like, man, I should be your teammates. I
Well,
should be here.
Look at KP, right? Like what he just said. You know,
He's a perfect
he
example,
wasn't from here, obviously, but his first American experience was in New York.
New York,
right? So, and he whatever, we all know what happened. And then when he's now looking back on it, he even said, like, I should have handled it differently.
Yep.
You know, I should have been more involved with what was going on. And then you look at the last big guy we did trade for before this was Carmelo Anthony, another guy with New York roots, New York connections, wanted to be here, wanted to come here, wanted to play here. So, and the Knicks, again, I'm happy from a standpoint that I thought the trade packages that were announced when Mitchell was available were way too much.
Yeah.
I think it would have been giving up too much to get him. I don't think it would have put us into that tier that a team like Cleveland, who are more ready to absorb him because they had young manageable assets, guys who are young, who are growing, and he could immediately go in there and be kind of the veteran. You know, they have Kevin Love, yes, but be kind of the veteran star player that could take them in there. That wouldn't have been the case here either with Randall, right? Like Randall was here, so he was kind of entrenched as the veteran that we had to go with. So it was bad timing, I think, a lot of things, but we know he's a free agent in a couple of years. And I'm pretty sure that unless something happens in Cleveland where he falls in love and he wants to stay there, you know, I can see him coming here eventually at that time. And
honestly, I don't think he's in love with Cleveland, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying that as a biased Knicks fan. I really believe that he's not happy there.
Oh no, I don't think he won. I think he's playing. I think he's being professional. That's the whole thing about him. Donovan Mitchell is a very professional, classy kid guy, whatever. He's younger than me, but he's a classy kid, and I don't think that he's like going to let Cleveland know he don't like Cleveland, you know. But he kind of fawns over New York when he comes here, like, you know, I'm out here in 2 years, you know, enjoy me while I'm here. I'm not going to make a stink about it, but I'm going home after this because he's talked about it. I thought I was home. You know, you can see in his eyes he doesn't want to be in. You know, Cleveland's got a 2-year rental. That's really what he has, a 2-year rental. He'll be in New York at some point.
Yeah, that's the other thing about it, right? Like he's a professional because, you know, his father was a professional athlete, so he knows what it means to be a professional. You know, and he understands. He's one of the guys in the league who understands the privilege it is to be a professional athlete and play. So he doesn't turn his nose up at it like some players do, like Kyrie, unfortunately, who's kind of like, well, I mean, I want to talk about that a little bit too, because that was a trade that went down. So we can talk about that one really quickly. And even though it's a Nets, it was a Nets trade. The Nets are a New York area team. They are the other team in the area. So, but his press conference was kind of funny.
I didn't see it. Please fill me in on that. That had to be pretty interesting.
They were asking him about, you know, how do you think with everything that unfolded in Brooklyn, like what happened? And he was like, well, he goes, you know, I'm there, and I'm paraphrasing, of course. And I was playing there, and there were times I felt like I wasn't respected during the process. And and I feel like, you know, they didn't value me and my talents and what I am, what I want for the organization. And then I'm listening to this, and I'm like, they did everything we wanted them to do. They even you took time off during the season just because you want to take time off. Like, and you're gonna say that they disrespected you? That you weren't like, you acted like you weren't a priority for them? Like, you're the reason, like, Kevin Durant came there because of you. Like, you were the guy who controlled the whole thing from the beginning. And then they gave you all of the power. You get there and you have all the power. And again, they let you treat your career like an ATM. Yeah. Like, I'll play when I want to play, put the card in, put in my code, get your money in.
That's an interesting take. I like that one. That's true.
You know, like, that's how I look at it. And listening to him, and I'm like, this guy just does. And I was a big Kyrie fan in college. He only played like 18 games for Duke because he was hurt, but I was a big fan of his then.
Was he hurt? Was he hurt?
Yeah, now you kind of get it. Was he hurt? But he's another guy whose big moment changed who he was. Like that shot he hit to win the championship.
Yeah.
Post Kyrie from that shot is much different than pre Kyrie was.
I agree with that. That shot changed.
Yeah, I don't see how this works in Dallas. I really don't. I mean, Luka doesn't say a lot, but he says it by not saying it. And I mean, right now, I think he needs Kyrie, obviously, because that's the guy they got for him. So I think in the beginning, it'll be like, oh yeah, everything's fine. But this is not going to work out well. I cannot see this whole marriage working out well with those two guys who are supremely ball dominant. Yeah, Kyrie proved he can play, I guess, with LeBron. So I guess they're kind of saying, well, we have our LeBron here, but
no,
I don't know. Like, I think Kyrie is going there thinking, who the hell is Luka Doncic? I'm Kyrie Irving, right? Like that's how I think he's approaching it.
I can't see it being any different than that, because say what you want about LeBron, and we all have our takes on LeBron, you know, his greatness, his accomplishments, his lack of certain things, what we feel like he could change about himself during the time that he was playing, you know, he's been playing, and all other stuff. But the guy does not mind deferring to guys. This has been really the knock on him throughout of his career, is that he's willing to be a willing passer more than a person that's willing to kill. And in saying that, I look at a guy like LeBron, and Kyrie couldn't play with him. Like, Kyrie wanted out. Like, when you think about that dynamic of a guy who wants to pass you the ball, because LeBron would rather pass than shoot, then know that he's going to a team with a guy like Luka. And I'm a fan of Luka. I like watching Luka. I think he's extremely entertaining to watch.
Agreed.
He plays the game with such a fervor that how can you not like watching him play? But Luka's very flawed as a player, and we know what the flaw is. He's got to pat the rock. That rock is his. He's not LeBron. He wants all the smoke in the smoke shop. He doesn't want to sit there and, you know, defer or pass the ball up unless it's at the last minute. He has to give up the ball. And I don't see how that dynamic is going to work. That he's not a champion. For one thing, he's not a champion. And then Kyrie's coming in hitting the biggest shot, as everybody calls it, ever in NBA history. How is Luka going to tell him what to do? He's not going to respect him.
Nope. That's why that trade, when it was announced and where he was going, was very shocking to me. I did not have Dallas on my scorecard for Kyrie Irving for that reason. Craig, you're kind of quiet. What
No, I think I got my fill for the night in terms of trades. I don't think I got what I wanted, but I didn't at the same time. So it's just like, be careful what you wish for, kind of thing, right? So
do you agree with us about the Kyrie thing though? You don't see it working, or do you?
Honestly, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. I want to be the contrarian. I think it works.
Okay.
I think it works. But with that being said, watching the game, I have it on. I saw Kyrie sit down next to Luka. Now I may have missed where they may have given each other a little hand slap, but as Kyrie's sitting down, there was no acknowledgement from Luka.
Wow.
He's just standing.
It's just
standing like this, and Kyrie sits down, puts his warm up shirt on. So I will be the contrarian here. I say I think it works to the point. I think it works until it doesn't, and I'm going to do a windhorse thing here, right? I think after the season, when he does go to LA, I think he finds his way in LA. I think it works for now.
Can they afford him now?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Because he wants Dallas can give him a 2-year extension, $70 million or something like that. Now,
I just think it's a talent-driven league, and sometimes talent just works. But they're both ball-dominant guys. But you can. I don't know.
I've heard some of Luka's teammates say that Luka is a very humbled guy. That's what you hear. That Luka doesn't buy that he's as great as people say he is. Maybe his work ethic, I don't know, but I'm just saying that. And in saying that, if he didn't acknowledge Kyrie, if we believe that, there wasn't a glitch in the matrix, and he just sat down and was like, "Look, I'm not feeling you already." That is bad. He might not have been what
But again, for
Luka thought
context,
Dallas should have gotten. That
I
might
didn't
be a
see
problem.
him walk to the bench. I just saw him
Right.
sit down, and Luka was just staring.
But maybe he heard the press conference and he was like, "Oh, this guy here, like, what are we doing? Like, oh, everything's true that they told me about him." Like, it's possible that he saw that and he listened to his comments. Like, this dude just doesn't get it. Like,
I do wonder if Luka went to. I mean, it's been talked about that he was complaining to Dallas that, hey, you got to do something. And they did this, and he was like, "This is not the something that I wanted." I mean, because you got to think about it. He has to know what kind of play he wants to play with, and you're taking the ball out of my hand. I'm on sure he's a little insulted that you bring in arguably what people say is the best ball handler ever. What does that say about what you think about him when you are bringing somebody to take the ball out of his hand?
Yeah, that's why I can't see it working out long term. I like Craig. I agree with you. It'll probably work out till it doesn't. Obviously, winning is the great equalizer, right? So if they start winning,
yeah,
I'm sure that everything will be fine. But again, that's usually the point where Kyrie's like, you know what? Things are going too well here. I need to do something crazy to change up the whole thing.
Something wrong with the lighting in here. I don't know lighting in Dallas. You know
what? I need to go on a little vacation. The playoffs have started. They don't need me. I'll come back in the week or so. We're good. Like, I'm waiting for that to happen because that's just his MO, right? That's what happens with this guy.
Yeah, you can't be having a horse on your uniform. You never know. They used to corral us. It's going to be.
But isn't that what kind of made Phil Jackson so valuable, right? You let a person like Dennis
the ego management.
Yeah, you let Robin go to Vegas and do his thing, and then you're just like, he'll be back.
It's a different league, but now with social media, you can't even do that. Like,
yeah, I know
that person nowadays. Robin would have been all over Twitter, Instagram, like, had pictures like for days.
You imagine?
This was that. Yeah,
I do think Jason Kidd is the key. I said it before.
That's fair.
I just think a guy like J. Kidd, he might be the one that Kyrie goes and has a talk with, and he's good. He got Luka to play better. I mean, I know Luka's a great talent, but he was the one that curved Luka into saying, you got to defend better. You got to do this better. And Luka took it into consideration. Can the Jason Kidd be the point guard whisperer with Kyrie? I mean, Kidd was a great player. I mean, I would have loved him to be a coach of the Knicks. I mean, I'm just going to keep it real. He kind of gets things out of players that most guys can't because they respect his voice. So,
I mean, he said he was a Nets fan growing up. So if we believe that, so maybe this could be the thing that
nobody's ever a Nets fan. Let's stop that.
Hey, that's what he said.
Let's just stop those lies. That's when we knew Kyrie was off, when he said he was a Nets fan. Nobody grows up to be a Net fan. You just end up in Brendan.
Well, that would explain the crazy.
Well, that does. To smell all those swamp fumes out in Jersey and go to Brendan Byrne Arena all those years when it was empty and nobody really wanted to be in there. They didn't have vendors in there. Nobody wanted to go to Brendan Byrne Arena. So,
he was doing what Aaron Rodgers is doing, except he sat in a large dark arena, not a dark room. He sat in a dark arena for 4 days.
Hey, those chambers, man. I want to do that.
The ayahuasca stuff?
I want to go in there and just float and just chill.
Oh, those things. I don't know. I mean, he said he's going to sit in a dark room for 4 days. I don't know what exactly that means. Aaron Rodgers is crazy to me, though. So,
that's what he said. That's the quote he's going to say.
He said, because people are asking him right now, not to get off the football topic, but since I brought it up, people are asking him right now, like, is he going to keep playing? Is he going to make a decision? And he said, right now, I'm going to take some time for myself, go spend 4 days in a dark room. And I was like, wait, what? Did he really say what he just said? But yeah, that's what he said. So of course, with the Jets being interested in him, it's a big deal here in New York. So he says this, and everyone's like, he's gonna come out and say like, "Oh, I'm retiring," or he's gonna come out and say like some weird thing. and people thinks he's doing ayahuasca. Like you guys know what ayahuasca
That's
is, right?
the Native American thing where you
Yeah, psychedelic type thing.
yeah.
It you're supposed to do it with a shaman or somewhere where they like
How
guide you through your experience.
Thing and
Yeah, and then at the end, you apparently get violently ill. That's
Yeah.
like the last part of it. Like you puke your brains out.
wasn't there an episode of Renegade before?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Now,
that.
now, does this shaman, is it farming any green items?
Well, yeah, whatever ayahuasca is, it's kind of like I can only. I mean, I've never done them, but I can only imagine it's kind of like doing shrooms, like a heightened level of that. Some laced with some
I know some people that went in dark rooms, with a little bag,
padded.
little cabbage in their pot.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is.
I just wonder what.
I mean, there are some days I'm like, if it really like calms you after the fact, or like
this medicinal.
but people say it makes you paranoid. Like it can make you paranoid. Like you see things. Just it's supposed to be like a highly like enlightenment type thing. So you see experiences, or you might see like hallucinate and see. Like I'm like, yo, I would die. Like I'm pretty sure I'd be dead.
Wasn't this like a moment at Woodstock? Isn't this what?
Well, yeah, Will Smith talked about doing it actually.
That explains a whole lot.
Yeah. He talked about on the David Letterman show on Netflix. That was the first time I'd ever heard about it.
Oh,
He talked about doing ayahuasca.
That makes perfect sense now with him.
So, yes.
Slappy Will.
Well,
Slappy
we're gonna shut this one down because we've been on for about an hour and a half now. But I'm sorry we veered off into ayahuasca territory. But it was just a weird story. I had to talk about it.
That's funny.
But so Knicks fans, we did make a trade. If you came late, just before we close the show, the Knicks acquired Josh Hart from the Portland Trailblazers for Cam Reddish, Svi Mihailuk, Ryan Arcidiacono, and from what I'm hearing now, a 2023 lottery protected first round pick. Not sure if it's our pick or one of the ones we have, but that's what I heard. So you could chime in, you could hit us up. Obviously, if you're watching us in the Facebook group, you could hit us up in there, talk about it. We're happy to talk about it. But if you want to hit up these guys individually, Craig, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Trays_Sun28 and on our Facebook page as well. All linked up. And that's about it.
Ty.
Find me at Genius Scribble on Twitter. You can also hit me up on our All Linked Up fan page on Facebook. I'm always on there trying to write up some stuff and engage our audience. Bring the smoke. We want it.
Yeah, I'm gonna post after this. I will post in the Facebook page the details about the trade, so we can open the conversation there. You guys can talk, interact with us there, talk about it. If you want to interact with me directly, though, you can see all my contact information is here. My personal Twitter account at Finally33, spelled Finale33. The show Twitter account at all_Nick_up. I often retweet articles I find there as well on the All Nicked Up site. Working on getting a guest. I'm working on that still. We're gonna get a guest for the show. Ty is as well. So we're in conversations with people about bringing someone on to talk Knicks and maybe their own personal story. There's a couple of people I have out there who might be interested in telling that. So we're trying to work on that as well. And we will keep you posted on all of that good stuff. So for Craig and Ty, I'm Eric. You're watching All Nicked Up. We'll see you next time.